All right, let's get to Adrian Elrod and John Heilman here on this and more. Adrian, I'm thinking, what would the advice be for the Biden administration? Because there's a lot of bragging on the economy, and there's a lot to brag about. There's a lot to brag about in terms of what this president has accomplished. You just served in the Commerce Department, and you spent a year bragging about chips. Well done. But at the same time, it's the way people are feeling. I almost feel like the advice would be to focus on the segment that we did before the jobs numbers came out, on abortion and on Donald Trump and on the economy. Say, yes, there are a lot of good signs there. We're still working on it. We're building on where we are. Would you agree, or would you brag on this economy if you were this administration right now?
No, Mika, I think you're exactly right. I mean, when you look at Steph made a really good point. When you look at where we were 3 years ago, going through COVID, a once in a generation, perhaps once in a lifetime pandemic, a lot of economists did predict that we were going to be in a recession, that we are not going to be anywhere near where we are. These numbers are strong. They're strong regardless of a pandemic that we had 3 years ago. So, I think that the administration is obviously right to go out there and talk about the four major economic bills that President Biden was able to pass, several of those bipartisan, that help sustain the economy and get us to where we are today. But at the same time, of course, you have to make it clear. And by the way, the administration is doing this. The president is doing this by making it clear that there is work to do. Interest rates hopefully will continue to come down. They've been on a downward trajectory, which is a very positive thing. And I think we also have to talk about how some of the jobs that this administration is creating through, of course, the CHIPS and Science Act, a lot of those jobs are manufacturing jobs that once we start getting some of these factories, these fabs built, are going to be created. So it's hard to tell people right now who are still struggling a little bit in this economy, be patient, good jobs are to come, but there is a way to sort of strike the balance on both. The economy is strong for a lot of people. Not everybody is feeling it, but there are measures that this administration has put in place to get us to a better place very soon. And then, of course, Mika, as you mentioned, abortion, the extremist views of Donald Trump, who appears to be the heir apparent nominee for the Republican Party. You run on those contrast issues, and then you lift up the parts of the economy that are strong, and then you make it clear that you've got a plan to address some of the issues that Americans are still facing and struggling with: high food prices, inflation issues. And those are issues those challenges that a lot of Americans are facing are going to continue to come down. Again, we're already seeing inflation numbers coming down. We're starting to see gas prices coming down. We're trending in the right direction. So just really restoring faith and making sure the Americans understand what the president has done and that there is work to do.
So, John Heilman, this election is going to be fought on a number of fronts. Of course, we reported this week that Trump's comments about being dictator for a day has sort of affirmed again the Biden campaign's decision to put democracy at the center of this next election, as they have done the last two, obviously abortion rights as well. But let's stick to the economy for the moment, and in particular, inflation. And to Adrian's point, it has come down. It has. But it's still pretty high. And I think people are still really feeling that. And I think that's sort of been almost overlooked in some of the analysis in the last couple of months as to why these poll after poll shows that the fundamentals of the economy are pretty good, at least for most, but voters feel lousy about it. Is it as simply as an inflation? And what kind of price is Biden going to pay?
Well, I mean, one of the things that you learn over decades in politics is that you can't convince people that that you can try to talk someone out of how they feel. We've had this consistent sense of people saying, the economy doesn't feel good to me, and going and telling, we've done a lot. We've got here are all the things we did. Here's a list of things we did. Those are real accomplishments. Don't take anything away from Joe Biden and his legislative accomplishments, and some of this economic news is good news. But Jonathan, the inflation thing has been the problem from the outset for the administration, and it is the case that if you drive around America still, man, it's still expensive to fill up your tank, and the price of food. Yeah. The price of eggs, the price of milk. These are things that they're the rare economic number that affects everybody at every income level, everywhere in the country. It's not, when the unemployment rate goes down, that's good, but most people already have jobs, and some extra people get jobs, that's good, but it doesn't change the overall picture. And what's driving a lot of people's sense of anxiety about the economy and their negative outlooks about the future are these basic things like high interest rates, very expensive to get a mortgage in America right now, very expensive to buy a dozen eggs, and very expensive to fill up your car. And those are things that the administration has limited ability to change in a dramatic way. If we can start to see more interest rates, if the Fed can start to ease on its policy, start to lower interest rates over the course of the next year, and you see inflation continue on the path it's on, but it's going to have to go a little faster. The administration could end up in that place where they get the soft landing, but that's not something Joe Biden can do anything about directly. Those are largely out of his control. And so, to your point, what you end up having to do is talk about Donald Trump.
Right. But also, this is what I was talking with Dom about sort of the after effects of COVID, because Heilman, as you said, okay, if you can get a mortgage, can you find a house? I mean, there aren't any houses for people to, and if there are any, you can't afford them, and the rent is high, and a lot of it is still after effects of all sorts of shifts in our economy and geography where people are making choices post-COVID. So it's still shaking out. And I wouldn't bank on the economy if I were a Republican or a Democrat in terms of something to brag on, because it's going to take a few years.
I agree with that, Mika. That's one of the great unfairnesses of politics, too, which is that you get credit when you're president for a lot of things you don't do economically. A lot of times the business cycle drives a booming economy. Presidents get a lot of credit they don't deserve. And sometimes when things like this happens, where we have a big structural trauma like COVID that takes years to shake out. It's not Joe Biden's fault, but he's going to get blamed for it. And it's a swings and roundabouts thing for presidents in the economy. You get credit for stuff you don't deserve, and you get blamed for stuff you didn't cause. But that's kind of the bind they're in, and it's why a lot of this stuff is going to come down in this election. I think to basically something Lamir's been talking about for the last couple of days, which is you're going to have to make this election about the threat that Trump poses to American institutions and stability and democracy.